Hello again, Alfa Romeo fans, and also TLV fans. Not often I review this brand. This is the Alfa 1750 GTV, LV-155. It's a reissue. They originally cast this a long time ago. We'll see on the bottom of the casting when it first came out. Unfortunately, the boxes don't tell you a date. You know, it's hard to know how old this thing is, you know, in the future. But anyways, I already took it out of the box, save a little time. Got a little blister, you know, keeps it from getting all messed up, which is nice, and the box is small enough that you can save it. So reading some Wikipedia here, between 1967 to 1972, over 44,000 of these things were made. They were based on a shortened floor plan of the Giulia Saloon, successor to the Giulietta Sprint Coupe, and this thing was powered by a 1.8 liter, making it like 120 horsepower. It was an inline 4, 5-speed manual transmission. It rolled on 14-inch rims, which is actually smaller, I think, than the original car. According to Wikipedia, I mean, I'm just reading what someone wrote. I could be totally wrong, or that Wikipedia could be wrong. And the nice styling of this is from the famous designer Giorgetto Giugiaro for Bertone, or I like to say Bertone. Okay, so comparison photos are done. Looks close enough to me. Looks pretty good. Let's take a look-see at the details. So the yellow, unfortunately, is not metallic. Yellow has a hard time covering up the casting, as you can see the dark edges here of the door cuts. That's not specific to TLV, that's specific to all diecast. Yellow, white, red a little bit. They have a hard time covering up, you know, metal, because they're light. Light gets through there. Alright, so the wheels here, just hubcap designs. Oh, when was this first cast? 2015, so we're talking almost, we're talking 10 years ago, right? So it was a different time. And yeah, I feel like these wheels, if they're a more modern brand, they would be better. They would have openings here instead of just this thing. But looking at the images, there's no emblem on the hubcap. It's just a plain hubcap. Okay, so I guess that's accurate. What I do appreciate is the tires, even though there's some side blocks here because they don't have weird treads. It looks like a street tire. It doesn't look like a mud bogger. Then we have this little printed on reflector. Can't focus on it. But anyways, it's just flush being printed on. Just a silver box, I assume for Bertone. No printing. And oddly, I don't see it on two of the photographs there. Just the one front view. Okay, and oddly, well, different countries. The side photo has a round thing like this. The front view has a rectangular one. Maybe that's for like the US market or something. Okay, so we have molded windows, which is fine by me because they're never going to pop loose like on some resin models. The raised molding is painted silver. This door is raised as well, and I think the lock is in the middle of the door handle, so that would explain the bump there. I think this might have suspension. It does. And then there's the logo of the Quadrifoglio. I'm not pronouncing that right, most likely. The clover thing. But it's not green. It's gold. That might be accurate according to the side photo I pulled up. Would have guessed that would be green, but... Okay, let's see. Going around to the front, we have no license plate, just the white rectangle. I'm not a fan of that. And sadly, there's no black paint in these vents here. But at least they're molded. I guess you could add that yourself. Also down here, no black paint. At least it does have a separate plastic chrome bumper, and it's got the little bumperettes as shown in the front photograph. These are just painted on. The headlights are clear plastic. Looks like a light bulb. The peg going in there looks good. Unfortunately, there's no green S on the Alfa badge, so that badge could be better. This grill, for some reason, looks shifted to that side. That makes no sense whatsoever unless it's a separate piece. But why would they bother making this a separate piece from the surround? But that's the only explanation I can see, right? It's weird. It's strange. At least this grill looks nice. A little silver paint got a little too much there, but whatever. Okay, going on this side. Yeah, I lost focus again. Hold on. Yeah, I guess it looks good. That thing looks good. A little contaminate there. And then again, a little bit of the casting showing through. That's actually a pretty big panel gap, though, this one. I don't know why it's so big. Oh, it's because it was designed 10 years ago. Clear taillights are looking good. Orange, red. No backups, though. Again, just a plain license plate. but a separate bumper. And then we do have this badging. Can we see the snake on that? Now, that's weak. The good thing is, this is a paint process. This is not a decal, so that paint isn't going to go bad until the yellow paint below it goes bad. But if it's a decal, it might just flake off entirely if it's not under the clear coat, which for the price of this model probably wouldn't happen. Silver paint here looks alright. The roof here, not much orange peel, a little bit of waviness there, but it's not bad. Okay. Just printed on wiper blades. By today's standards, it's quite lame, but at least it has wiper blades. That's nice. Unfortunately, I think there's literally some silver paint there. And then it's nice that you have a brown steering wheel with the silver spokes there. Some vent details looks nice. A nice little texture on the dashboard. I do believe that whole floor pan is a part of this interior. It's not. That's plastic, I think. It's not the black base of the whole model. Not much by way of headrest back in this time frame, so Ralph Nader's influence did not reach this car yet. Oh, but they are there. I don't know. I guess they're just in the down position. Okay. Some ribbing on the seats looks nice. Let's see about the door panel over there. Yeah, little hand grab there. Maybe a window winder there. Steering looks nice. Some recesses for the instruments. No additional detail, but no rear view mirror. I do feel like that would be something on a car from this time frame. But I'm grateful there's no weird defroster lines. Maybe back in the 60s there weren't defroster lines in Italian cars. Alrighty, just a few more Alphas to show off here. Here's the previous one I reviewed by TLV. It's just the 1600 Junior. It is a smaller displacement engine that sat between the 1750 and I think the 1300. So the differentiator is the fact it only has 2 headlamps versus 4. Looks like a BMW 2002, does it not? Interesting. But otherwise, I think the body is pretty much the same. It's just the front end, so I still think this is a stylish looking car by today's standards. Kyosho has something very similar, the Sprint GTA 1600. So again, just 2 headlights, so I guess I'll put that over here next to that one. It has side mirrors, that's a little bit different. And then Kyosho, my favorite classic Alpha, or 60s Alpha, late 60s Alpha, is the 1750 GT AM. Got the side pipe there, it's running slicks because it's a race car pretty much. This one's screwed together. You'll notice this has black paint in the lower vents, inserted lights. And what about the badge? Did Kyosho get this badge better? Ah, come on. I can't tell if there's a snake there. It's just too close. I'm trying to get my fingerprint in the focus here. Yeah, I apologize. I can definitely see the cross. Maybe you can see it. It's hard to see on a phone screen. No, Kyosho cheaped out just as well. There's no green snake on there. Okay. Still, this is a cool... the holes in the wheels look far more realistic, you know, on the Kyosho. And again, a side mirror, because cars come with that. I added my own license plates to all these things. I would like to see maybe that in a resin model. It would be not. I would buy it, even knowing that maybe the windshield would pop off in the future, because I just think that's a cool looking car. They're all cool looking cars, but a wide body flared out Alpha, that just looks a lot better. Okay. Alright, well, I think it's smart that TLV put this out, because I wasn't going to pay the crazy $100 prices or whatever these things were going for when I first researched them, when I started collecting diecast cars. So it's a good way for them to cash in on their molds, and it's a good way for new collectors to pick up old castings, right? So I think it's great. I only wish they released metallics, but maybe these cars never came in metallic paints back then. That could be the reasoning behind it. Please leave a comment if you're an Alfa aficionado and let everyone else know. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you around. Hopefully TLV will put out something that I like in the future. Bye.